This is Snapshot 24W38A for Minecraft 1.21.2. And not only do we have a brand new snapshot today, we also have information about Minecraft Live and the never before seen game drops. But before we get to this, a very suspicious bug fix has caught my attention. I've been following the updates and therefore the bug fixes in this game for a long time, and I'm pretty sure that this right here is a flip-flop. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've seen a handful of changes go back and forth as it seems the community and Mojang never quite decide on what way around these things should work. Here's one of them. Squids used to ignore these bubble columns and now they don't. And I'm pretty sure it was intentional that they don't do this. If you're wondering why, well, allow me to change these blocks to magma blocks. And now any squid that is unfortunate to make its way into these bubble columns will get sucked down to the bottom and killed. And of course, you can run a hopper minecart under here and collect all of the ink sacs. It makes for a really powerful and unbalanced farm, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason that squid ignore the bubble columns normally. So I am going to call it here. I expect to see this change reverted in the next snapshot. Now, before we get to the snapshot itself, let's check out the experimental changes to the bundle. Remember, these are hidden behind the experiments option when creating a world. And this means we don't know what update of Minecraft these changes are going to make their way into. Now, this is the only experimental change for bundles, and it's a beautiful one. You can now dye the bundle with a dye inside of the crafting bench. But this takes advantage of a new feature that I'll come back to later on in this video when we get to the technical stuff, because not only can you do that, you can have items in the bundle already, and then when you go to dye it, it will retain the contents of that bundle. As you can probably imagine, this could be really powerful for organizing your items, as you could start to color code them with the bundle. They are also fully supported through the resource pack system. As you can see, there's also textures for when you're looking at what item is inside of the bundle. And because of this, you could possibly change these textures with a resource pack to give each of these new bundles a sort of distinction for what type of items you're going to put inside of them. It's really nice to see these new features being added with customization in mind. And I got to say, I think these textures are gorgeous. The saturation on them feels just about right to me. They're perhaps a little more vibrant than other textures I've seen in this game, but I do like them. These changes come with a new tag list for all of the different bundle types, and I've noticed this has been added for shulker boxes as well. And that is because the recipe for dyeing shulker boxes now shows up in the crafting book. Also, I got a bunch of diamonds inside of this one, and when we dye it, it's going to preserve all of its contents just like the bundle did. Oh, small detail, if you click on the magnifying glass, it'll actually put a cursor into the box so you can type into here without clicking on it. Oh yes, and please do subscribe, because YouTube tells me that a lot of you watching these snapshot videos ain't actually subscribed. So if you do that, you're more likely to catch them each week as they come out, and I cover them here on the channel. Anyway, thanks for doing that. Let's crack on. So I mentioned how both the bundle and the shulker box could keep their contents when going through the crafting process, and that's thanks to this new item component, Crafting Transmute Recipe Type. It goes into the details here, but essentially allows you to keep the properties of the block or item on the left when it gets crafted to the one on the right. Another example of this, something you might want to use in a mini game with a data pack, you could have a sword with some enchantments on it and then upgrade it to a diamond sword, and then it would transfer across the enchantments of the original sword. Now, if you play multiplayer on Realms, some good news, it now uses the normal, fully featured world creation screen. And from what I understood, it's referring to this screen that we see when we create a single player world. On Realms, you'll now be able to use game rules and data packs. They've also added in support for hardcore mode. Here on the website, it states that throwing items out of your inventory very quickly in creative mode is now throttled. This is something I'm actually familiar with. When I throw these items out, you can see them dropping down behind the menu here. So if I start to tap really fast, eventually this gets throttled. And there you go. You can see finally it's slowed down. By the way, I am spam clicking like crazy. So I don't think that has actually changed, but there was a bug report saying that if you were in this screen and you were throwing out items off of your hotbar, it would throw out 2 at a time instead of 1. And if that is the case, it just seems really misleading to put that in the change logs as a change. So I think this is just a bit of an odd one, like a bug fix that's been listed as a change for some reason. And when it comes to bug fixes in this one, I guess the first one is worth talking about. It's an oldie going all the way back to Minecraft 1.5.1. And essentially, when you put an item into an anvil, you might sometimes see this too expensive message, even though you haven't put another item next to the first one. And the rest of the bug fixes are barely worth talking about. Once again, they're mostly just things related to the last couple of snapshots. So next up, let's talk about Minecraft Live 2024, which was announced today at the same time this snapshot dropped. It's going to be taking place this month, September, on Saturday the 28th. That's the date to mark into your calendar. As for what you're seeing on the screen right now, this was the teaser video that they put out, and there wasn't too much to read into here. This was just to accompany the announcement. Now, time zones are a bother. This thing is taking place at 10 AM PT. I don't even know what PT stands for. Pedestrian time? Yeah, it's probably just pedestrian time, right? I kid. I'll put a link in the description box that you can click on, and then it will convert that time to your time zone so you will know what time of day to tune in. And if you do tune in, there is going to be a 30-minute pre-show before the time that I just talked about. And there will also be an after show where we get to watch the developers go even deeper into the updates and play through the new content for the first time ever. Let's just see that again. Updates and new content. I think we're going to see them play what's coming next. Now, in the show, it's stated they're going to be unveiling never seen before game drops. And notice that that is plural. Does this mean that we're going to get multiple minor updates before the announcement of 1.22? I think so, because they've stated they're going to do 2 Minecraft lives a year. And I think the next show that they do will be where they announce 1.22. That's about all I can say on the matter for now, and I want to just throw us back to last week's snapshot because the ender pearl changes in that update were even more amazing than I realized. I actually made an entire video on this where we tested the changes and learned lots of interesting things about them. I'd recommend you give that video a watch because then you'll know why this is important. For all of you that watched that video, there were 2 details that I didn't consider. Well, one detail actually, which is that when the player dies, their ender pearls will vanish and then the chunk loading properties will no longer happen because the pearls aren't there. And the second thing that I knew about but I didn't articulate very well is that when a player logs out, their ender pearls vanish from the world too. When they log back in, they reappear. And last of all, mobs using a mace will actually now calculate the damage the same way that a player using a mace would. So my fate is in your hands. Oh, look at that. I was smashed by a husk. And on that note, we've reached the end of this snapshot video. And yes, I am now on the Hermitcraft server at the fan art gallery. I wanted to let you know that I am now accepting submissions for my gallery that's going to house your fan art on the server. If you don't know about this, I highly recommend you go watch the last 2 episodes of Hermitcraft from me. And if you want to submit some of your art for consideration, definitely check out the last episode. That's where the instructions are. Anyway, just wanted to let some of you know who might be watching the snapshots and haven't yet seen the latest episodes of Hermitcraft. So that's it from me this one, and hopefully I'll see you next week with another snapshot video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.